In this unit, we're talking about community ecology, and the community ecology is the study of interactions among different species within the same area, and this includes topics like competition, predation, symbiosis, and succession. We're going to talk about each of these in turn. One example of competition or topics in community ecology that is of more and more importance as people change the surface of the planet is how do species like beavers, for instance, deal with destruction of their habitat, such as cutting down forests. Another important concept is competition. So this is when more than one species in a community attempts to use the same limited resource. So for instance, this ocotillo here is a type of cactus in the desert southwest of the United States, and it is competing for water with the other plants that are in the area. So we've got some creosote bushes, there's some other cacti here, and so competition is a very important topic in community ecology. The competitive exclusion principle says that no two species can occupy the same niche indefinitely because one will be a better competitor and the other will go extinct locally. So that means that basically two species can't try to do the exact same thing the exact same way at the exact same time forever because one of them will do it better than the other and the one that doesn't do it as well will go extinct. And so niche partitioning is an interesting phenomenon that allows species to interact with each other or to survive without competing with each other as intensively. And basically what this means is that the jobs in an ecosystem are divided and subdivided into tiny, tiny little bits so that one species of plant might be growing very tall and it might be using a lot of water, but water that's very deep into the soil with a taproot. Another species of cactus might be using a little bit less water. It has surface roots, and so those two types of plants are competing for water, but they're doing it in a way that they are allowing each other to coexist because the cactus has the surface roots, and so it's not competing with water in the same depth of the soil as the other one. So that's just one example of niche partitioning. Symbiosis is another important concept, and this is a close interaction between two species. Mutualism is a case in which both species benefit. Commensalism is when one species benefits but the other is not affected, or we say it's neutral. Parasitism is when one species benefits but the other is harmed. And I've got this picture here of termites because termites have a little protozoan organism, which is a single-celled eukaryotic thing that lives in their guts and actually helps them to digest the wood that they're eating. So the termites get food and the protozoan also gets food out of the deal. So this is an example of a mutual symbiosis because both are benefiting. And then we talk about succession. There are two different types. Succession is a process through which a community recovers from a disturbance. So for instance, this picture here is, you might be able to tell that these are volcanic rocks, and so these little plants that are growing here are some of the first that have colonized after the volcano erupted and covered this island in lava. So primary succession happens when there is no soil to begin with. So lava flows are good examples because after the lava dries, there's absolutely no soil and no living things there. And then a glacial moraine is a place where a glacier has receded and left a bunch of rocks. And so basically there's no soil and there are no living things there either. So primary succession happens in areas with no soil. And then secondary succession happens in areas like an abandoned field where soil is present and the plant community changes based on how long the community or the abandoned field has been left to itself to recover. So make sure you check the readings if you need more details about the differences between different types of symbiotic relationships and primary and secondary succession.